Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of my new project, Prelude to Positivity. My guest today is someone that I have known for a while and I've admired for just as long. He is a content creator, an influencer, a businessman, an advocate, a humanitarian, an activist, an ally, a journalist, a guy with a great big heart, and someone I now call a friend, Carlos Brandt. How are you, Carlos?
Oh my God! Let's say that I just pay you to say all of that about me.
By the words.
Exactly, by the word, because we're in a pandemic, so we need to charge more.
I need every bit, right? We all need every bit.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I mean, I think what you're doing is amazing, and you know that I admire and we connect thanks to social media platforms and the way that we're doing and trying to do something. So keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself productive as well is a good example to people to do something in this time, you know. So
Whatever
thank
you
you.
can do. No problem. Thank you for being here after your trip and all. I wanted to start out with you just telling us a little bit about you, like where you grew up and what you were like as a child.
So I grew up between Venezuela and Spain. My family is from Italy and Venezuela, and then I moved to Spain, and I spent a lot of my life there. And I grew up in a very Catholic way. My mother specifically was very super Catholic, and of course, if you're talking about Spain and Venezuela, they're like so in sync with when it comes with religion, you know. So I grew up in a household that. They kind of didn't accept the fact of being gay, of being queer. So it was a struggle with acceptance, attention, confidence, and I think some kind of way validation. You know, that we are all the time looking or seeking from our parents. You know. And then from there, well, I grew up in Spain, and I decided to study journalism, and I graduated there as well. And since then, I've been working on social media platforms. I remember that I work in the first prototype of Blogspot, and there comes my age. Back in, I don't know, 2005, 2006, I was living between Madrid and Barcelona. I lived in Barcelona many years. So yeah, growing up as a kid, I knew that I was gay from the very beginning, since I remember. And I think my gayness, call it that way, it was it was a way of rebellion, you know, especially to my parents, you know, because I kind of like want to bother them, you know. So and they reject something that I was, so I it was kind of like a statement and say, okay, so you reject this, I'm gonna beat this way more now, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the way I grew up. Either way, it was also a place of love and support, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was brought up, Italian American, and so we were Catholic too. And same thing. It was when I did finally come out. It was like, oh, this is a phase you're going through, and you'll get over it, and you'll get past
Yeah.
it. No, that's not really a phase.
Yeah, that can be a minute. It can be a
So
minute.
speaking of growing up in Spain and all that, then you came to America, and when you came to America, you were welcomed here, correct? When you came, not many issues coming in.
Yeah, not many issues. I mean, you know, we as an immigrants, we all the time have and see, especially coming from another country, we all the time see United States like the land of freedom. It sounds like a cliche, sounds like a bad advertising on TV, but it's kind of like how it we look at it. You know, United States, America, it is the nation to be. You know,
Right.
so in some point, I wanted to change and to give my life a different, complete 360 switch, and I decided to come here. I didn't have any issues. I applied. I mean, I did everything legally. So I
Right.
applied for my visa. I was here. I got the opportunity to do my social security, etc. However, I know a lot of friends, a lot of people that has been requesting asylum or coming here from different type of reasons, being queer, not queer, just to live in a place that they can express themselves freely, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. And that's what I wanted to talk about because I know you've been vocal about immigration, especially in the past few years with all of the, let's call it challenges that we've had with our government.
Yeah.
So what has that been like for you? I wonder sometimes if when my ancestors came, my grandparents came, would they have even come if things were like that? Kids being put in cages, and I don't know if they would have even bothered to try to come here anymore. So for you, it's been important to speak up about what's been going on.
Yeah, especially for, I mean, the immigration party, and especially with the administration that is leaving. Thank God that is leaving. It has been it's very rough, you know. So to not get into the topic specifically. However, when it comes with immigration, when it comes with queer immigration as well, it's, I think, a little more difficult.
Mhm.
Because the fact of being gay can be a lot as well, to request or asylum or to request any type of visa. Not even mention our brothers and sisters in the transgender community, when you got so many states that they don't recognize who they are as well. So the immigration part has been also a very part of advocacy in my end. You know, it's what I am, it's where I came from. I came to United States 4 years ago. I've been living in New York 3 years. So it has been very challenging to do that. So if we can some way or somehow do guidance to someone that it maybe is listening in any other part of the world that wants to come here, why not? You know, we
Sure.
can provide information. We're not lawyers, nothing legal, but
Right.
hey, this is the way that we did it, and maybe it works. Maybe you can do something. Maybe you can ask questions about it, and that's it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't realize that there are some countries where you can really be put to death because of being queer, and being trans is a whole nother situation. It's even difficult in America to be trans, but to be in other countries is even worse. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
what asylum is.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, there's more than 60, 70 countries right now. They're still being LGBTQ. It's wrong. It's bad. That is bad under the law. You can go to jail. There's death penalty as well. And if we wanted to talk local, there's many states in this country that still have a lot of restrictions when it comes with LGBTQ people, and not only conversion therapy. For example, there's a few states in the last couple of years that has been banning conversion therapy, but it's still the work, you know, it's still the work, and baby steps, but baby steps sometimes are not enough. So we need more voices, and we need more people at least informed of what is happening.
Right. I agree with that for sure. Even DC, I think Washington DC is just going into banning it now, that's
Yeah,
the
Washington
capital.
DC, it's crazy. Exactly.
Yeah, that tells you a lot about the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
So sadly, I know that Dear Queer People is on hiatus, but it is coming back, right?
It's coming back. In some point, it will come back.
Okay. And what made you make that decision to take a step back and take a break? And what has it been like for you?
I decided to take a break because social media also can be a lot. You know, social media can be also very overwhelming, and I built a following thanks to building a platform for the queer people at the same time the way I look. There was a minute where the platform and the pressure came a lot, you know, and I wasn't living the present. I wasn't living where I was with my friends, or if I was traveling. I was all the time aware first to create a photo, to just create content, and it takes life from you, you know.
Yeah.
So I decided to make a pause. Also, I went to the breakup of my engagement, so that put me as well into a place where I have to get to know myself in different ways, get to know the city, and get to know my emotions, and sit down with my emotions and say, okay, guys, we need to coexist. We need to live. I need to sit down with my anger, sadness, hurt, love, compassion, kindness, and see where that goes. You know, so it has been a learning process on my own self, but it was more important to be present and not be aware of likes or comments, and a fake attention that social media can provide as well. Social media can be an amazing tool if you know how to use it, and if you give the value that is important to have, you know, and not just seeking attention. And just because you're posting, if you're a gay man, you're posting a thirst trap, or if you are or whatever you want to post, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you are the freedom, you have the rights. It's just for me, it took a lot and I am glad that I did it. I'm glad that I did. Actually, right now it's kind of like I'm posting a little more and retaking the queer people as well. So I wanted to also connect with my own creativity and see where that goes, you know. So that's why I put everything on hold, especially the podcast.
Yeah, and then especially on top of that, the pandemic hit. So it was like
Yeah,
all that you had going on in your personal life plus pandemic. I mean, I don't
yeah, it
even know.
was crazy.
Hard. That's really hard because most people would be relying on their friends a lot during a breakup, especially. But now we have a pandemic, so you can't even be around. That is difficult. I can see that. And
Yeah, it was a minute.
yeah, I can just imagine that. And you talked
Mhm.
about social media for a little bit, so I agree. It's part of our lives. It's a big part of yours, big part of mine, and it can be very tough at times. There are good things that happen though, like you and I met that way. I've met a lot of people that way,
Same.
and I'm grateful so much for that. But it also can lead to comparison and depression and feeling inadequate about yourself. And I mean, I just, during the pandemic, I lost 30 pounds. So I've noticed a big difference between when I was overweight to now,
Okay.
that way people treat you and how they see you. And now it's like I can post different things, or people encourage me to post more things, thirst traps. I don't want to do a lot of them, but there's a place for those too. But how do you
Yeah.
navigate that? Like, let's say in your daily thing you're posting, but you're at the gym. So it's not necessarily a thirst trap. It's seen as a thirst trap, but it's your life. So how do you navigate the waters of that?
Well, first of all, congratulations for doing that effort for you. Know that you were unhealthy before. I think it's a way of, if you want to push yourself to become something different and change something in your life, on your body, you can. Everyone has the power to it. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
I believe that, yeah, social media can be very powerful and at the same time very tricky. Um, like you said, you can post a photo and the gym and it's part of your life. It's just, I think it's the meaning behind it. You know, what
Yes.
you're looking for, what you're seeking for. I've been meeting a lot of people during this year as well, and during summer, and connected with a lot of people in a present way and talking with them. And sometimes, yeah, I met guys that they are like, yeah, I like the attention and I like to post my thirst trap because, yeah, I like the attention. Great, own it. You know, that's amazing. But when you're realizing that that attention and that validation is kind of fake,
Yeah.
it's real for sure, but it's fake because in the end, if you think about the things that matters in your life, like your friends, like your family, I don't know, any other thing that matters for you, that is more important. Their opinions are more important. And then if you let social media and the validation that social media is giving you to define who you are and to define the type of person that you are, that's where it gets lost, you
Yeah.
know. So I've been navigating that in a way, also feeling comfortable on my own self to post the things that I can post, or to have more clothes and or less clothes or whatever, and actually know why am I doing it,
Right.
you know, and think about it, because also this year allow us with all the social protests that we live, Black Lives Matters, and everything that we went through, we realized, okay, wait a second, why am I using social media for? And if I can impact one person or a million person, a million people, that will be enough, you know. And what I've been doing actually offline is having conversations with people. So right now I am trying to um, be more conscious about everything, and I don't let social media rule my life. I let it rule a lot, and I let rule my relationship as well. And it's just sitting down with yourself, you know, sitting down with yourself and knowing that you didn't know best, but you know now, and
Yes.
you're awake and you are aware,
Oh,
and that you can do it differently in the next second. You know,
sure.
it's just a matter of a snap.
Yeah. And there's pressure sometimes because everybody wants their life to look perfect on social media. But we all know that it's not, I mean, most of us know, some people don't, but most of us do know that it's not that perfect.
It's not. It's a perfect illusion. I'm all the
Yeah.
time saying it's like Lady Gaga saying a perfect illusion. Social media is what you decide to put out there, and that's about it. You
Yeah.
know. So people are gonna judge for the way you look, for the way where you are, and they want to look like you or be with you. Um, but at the same time, it is an illusion, and sometimes, yeah, I receive DMs, and yeah, I love your life, you look amazing, and maybe I don't feel well that day, or
Mm.
maybe it doesn't matter, you know, it's just what do you need to portray?
Sure, and then people can do the opposite, make their lives look a lot worse than it really is.
Yeah, also people sometimes use social media to canalize their feelings and project as well and deal with situations, and they use sometimes social media as an outlet. I don't recommend that at all. I recommend you just take time to yourself offline. But hey, if that works for you and that's how you want to do it, go ahead, you know.
And then I want to discuss cancel culture a little bit, because this year, especially this year, and the past 4 years too, there's been a lot of this, let's cancel this person completely, cancel that. I think people also forget, I can dislike you or I can have a problem with you, but I can't expect the whole world to agree to that, or I shouldn't be pushing people for that unless it's a horrible situation or a horrible person. I mean, we know there are horrible people out there that we need to speak against, but the cancel culture has gotten ridiculous. Every actor and actress is pretty much a target now, where we're just going to cancel
every person, because now we are all in social media, and we are somewhere somehow we are exposed to it, you know. So this year actually we saw the conversion when the cancel culture came to regular people, you know. Happening with the pandemic and happening in the gay community as well, gay men community, with all the house parties that are still happening since March, and every weekend are happening. Every weekend happening. It's just people that are a little more dumb than other ones and just decide to post it on their stories and stuff like that, and they forget to be empathic or to be a little more sensible with the circumstances that we're living. Our country right now is having the highest peak in COVID-19 in the world, more than when we were in a pretty bad lockdown a few months ago. And these gatherings are still happening, and then the cancel culture came because these videos went viral or any other that. Am I agree with cancel culture at all? Am I agree to call out or to call in people? I learned that from my friend Evan. The difference between calling out and call in. And call in is a way of introspection and see like, hey, you're doing this in the wrong way. What about if you do it differently? You know, and it's an invitation to actually be better and show up better. And we see the different cases as well, not only with actors and actresses, but I don't know, RuPaul's Drag Race, Brita Filter, that is an amazing New York performer. She was part of that cancel culture of how she came out in the show, and then she actually took a break of social media because yes, it can be a lot. And I think in social media also, everyone is entitled to give your opinion or to make an opinion about you because they follow you or they know your life or they know the name of your boyfriend or they know the name of your dog. It doesn't matter. So they feel entitled to project also what they feel. So in that manner, it's a bit of the responsibility of the person that is being attacked to take that and make it something positive, you know, and make the impact. And if you need to apologize, you know, and learn. It costs the same. It costs the same time.
I mean, I see a lot of people now, because of what's going on in this country, a lot of people are traveling outside of the country and partying there, and then putting up all these disclaimers like, "Don't worry, everybody got tested and everybody has masks." And okay, I mean, you know, everybody at that party got tested. You know every single one of them, and you've seen you haven't seen it, and then you're flying back and forth, so there you are right there flying around. But it's a lot. It's been a lot of stuff, and then people are calling people out.
And I get it. We all want to party. We all want to see our friends. We all want to see our loved ones. It's just not the right moment, and that's about it. There's nothing else to say. So I'm not saying don't go, but I know all responsible people. Or one of my good friends, Omar Torres, was supposed to travel outside the country, and he said, "Hey, no, I'm suspending this. The peaks are very high, and I'm not gonna expose myself and my friends and any other people in that country, in that hotel that I'm staying, or anything." You know, like I know other type of people that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to each his own, but then we don't post it all over the place. Like, you can be quiet about it, right? Because you can live.
You can be quiet. No, yeah. And in the end, you can do whatever you want with your life. That's on you. No one can dictate what you're gonna do or how you're gonna interpret it. Like, we're living in this time of craziness, the COVID. where we still in this country have people that doesn't believe the COVID it's a real thing, or you need to use your mask or anything. So hey,
Okay,
you
well,
do what you can. Yeah.
oh, totally. But I do believe, because they've been saying that, some people use social media even with charity. So they do a charitable thing and they put it all over the place. It depends what your intention is. So if you intended to
Yeah.
inspire someone else to do something good, that's a good thing. But if your intention is to say, look at me, how great I am, then it's not really charitable, because I went to go
Yeah.
give that person a sandwich and I recorded it to show everybody, look at me giving this homeless guy on the subway a sandwich. So I think you have to always look at the intention behind the action.
Totally agree with you. Social media, you can portray your life. That's amazing. It's yours. No one can tell you what to do with it. But if you can impact one person or a million people, why not? So, and I have a following on all my social media platforms, and if I can have a conversation with someone and make them show up better, I will. Social media for me, it's not anymore just to showcasing my life, or showcasing that I'm in the gym, or showcasing that I'm with my friends, or that I'm buying this, or look who show up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Although sometimes I see when celebrities just post stuff and leave. So they post something and then they go away and they don't respond to anything. But I kind of understand why they do that too, because it can be a lot, all the negative comments and stuff. So you're just like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
post.
yeah, totally. It can be a lot. I remember one post that I made, I think around February or March, and the pandemic was hitting. I received more than 500-600 comments, or people attacking, and it was a lot. Imagine being Lady Gaga. Imagine being a politician. Imagine being Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Like
Yeah,
they're
true.
being completely attacked for real issues and real matters, and not just a freaking photo of someone that call themselves influencers because they have 40,000 followers or 100,000 followers. It just doesn't matter.
Mm,
What matters is your people around, and what matters is the people that you have supporting you. What matters is that choosing family, in my case, because my family is now here, and what matters is what you can build. In the end, also that platform is not even yours. It belongs to
that's true.
all your data belongs to someone else.
Mhm.
So when that someone else decide to wipe out everything, where you go?
Yeah, really. That's
Yeah.
true. But speaking of
So,
social media and influencing people, the next three questions, you
ooh,
influenced me to ask these questions. So you posted something a couple weeks ago, and I was in the middle of getting the show ready, and I saw these, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to use these questions. So I'm going to use them for you now.
great.
What are you most passionate about?
Um, right now, I'm passionate about learning about myself.
Mm,
I've been discovering myself more than this year, and learning behaviors, and building a new path. So right now I'm passionate to connect with the people that supports me and value me, and value myself as well, and bring back that empowerment that I give to people, and I make people safe, and I try to inspire people at the same time trying to inspire myself. So I've been rediscovering myself in different ways, and that's kind of exciting. It's a lot of a lot of going on there, but it's
a
kind of exciting.
lot. But it can be, you can find new things about yourself that you didn't even realize you could do.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the beauty about it, in that hurt, in that getting lost on life is where actually the beauty happens. And it's an invitation just to show up better to yourself. But you need to be aware, you need to be awake, and you need to make a choice. And that choice start with you. So
Yes. And what is the most fulfilling part of what you do?
I think knowing that I'm no one, and I consider myself no one, and not in a bad way. I studied Kabbalah for many years, and one of the principles, when you believe and that you are nothing, you can be everything.
Mm,
So it's been very amazing to see the response for people, of things that I do, or things that I post, or for example for the podcast specifically, with the stories that I've been putting out there, and to actually inspire people to be more themselves, to show up better for themselves, to come out to their families, and to feel more empowered. Yeah, especially with the podcast, people from Tokyo, Russia, South Africa, and any other single country, that I cannot even imagine of someone is listening, and that's exciting. It invites you to actually do more.
And the podcast is Dear Queer People, and it's available everywhere
Still available.
podcasts are available. Yes. And the next thing is, what would you call this chapter of your life?
Let's say reinvention.
Okay, that's a good one.
I was about gonna say mess.
No, reinvention is a polite way of saying that.
Yeah, but let's say reinvention. Let's take Madonna in that part and say reinvention, and yeah, let's say that way.
Okay. And how do you stay positive during challenging times, especially this year?
How do you get positive? I meditate. I've been learning the beauty of meditation. I started to do it months ago after the breakup, and this self discover and learning about life and where I want to go, and has been like very awesome to wake up. I wake up every day at 6:30 a.m. At 7, I'm already meditating for 30-40 minutes. I do 2 meditations at 7 a.m. and at 10 p.m. wherever I am or whatever am I doing. And sometimes I'm in my friend's place and I lock myself in the bathroom or in the room and sit down and meditate. So that has been very meaningful to learn to actually calm down and to learn to stay in the present, because we get anxieties for past things or for future things, and we try to control things as well. And sometimes what you need to do is realizing where you are, what are you doing right now, and that you have a lot it takes, so you're staying positive with that and looking for support systems that can allow you to actually also be, I call friends. My friends has been an amazing support system and anchor for me, specifically this year. And then I've been also I'm a guy that likes to learn and likes to learn quick. And if I can solve something or make a solution for something, I'm a fixer. Yeah. So I'll learn it right now. So I have a life coach, I have a therapist, I read books, I listen podcasts, and I'm all the time trying to seek information of how and what I can do better. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I feel like shit. Sometimes I feel like I don't have any power in the world, and sometimes I feel the most powerful man in the universe. And so it's a journey. That's basically life. You got your low moments, your high moments, but in some way we need to find the learning to be stable and to just have a very stable line of life.
Yeah, and you mentioned life coaching. So you have a life coach, and so there's no shame in reaching out to somebody else to get help for it, right?
No, and actually, like I said, it's not something wrong. It's not something that it's something bad that happened, or that I'm sick or something like that. Requesting help is and the term of requesting help is also very heavy. There's like a stigma to it, and actually, it's just learn. It's just learn from people. I seek with my life coach. It's Carson Tuller. He is actually an amazing friend of mine. He was on my podcast as well, and he does this for life as well. And he has been a very good guide. And so if I want to learn how to be better, how to show up, how to unlearn what I knew, and delete all that information. Remember that you came here, you didn't know a shit, So you learn with your parents, you learn the way that you grew up, you were learning the way of society tells you to be, and remember that you can unlearn that as well, and learn new things that are gonna become who you are. So in that sense, I've been requesting, like, hey, how do you do this? And trying to figure out that sometimes we put stories on our feelings or in circumstances that doesn't exist, and then you learn how to came back to the basic thing and came back to the present. So that's part of it.
Yeah, I did similar thing this year because I did a spiritual life coach, And then I also had a coach for my diet and my exercise because I needed to be accountable. I realized I need to be accountable, especially during the pandemic.
That is good. That is good. It's like going to AA, you know,
Mhm.
or CODA, or one of these type of support systems that, and then you have a sponsor that makes you accountable for what you're doing every week, you know.
Yep.
So the first ones all the time are going to be my friends, but if you got something external, will be better, because that person will be more objective and more impartial than your own friends. And it will take you to the path, you know, but that path also has it's a choice to be there, you know, and to do the work. And it's something that I've been doing every day, and I feel so proud of myself for this year. I've been doing the work, and I do the work every day, and no one can take me that. And I love to do the work, because in that way I can be better for people, you know.
So in all this spiritual stuff that I did this year, that's how I came up with Prelude to Positivity, because I thought even though we were in this horrible time, if I look back on my life, I was in other horrible times too. And I felt like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that happened to me. And you know, you get that point where you're like, this is the worst thing ever. I can't do this anymore. And then you realize that you said that 2 years ago. So that wasn't the worst time. This is the worst time. But then the next time. So that's why I called it Prelude. But I want to know from you, what have you learned in your own life? Have you seen things like that happening where you thought this was the worst part, but it really wasn't? So do you now know that you can get through most things?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we are all survivors, you know. And in the words of Philip Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's a process. It's a process. Sit down, buckle up, because it's a process. But it's a good process. And I have to say, I'm proud of you to step it up and to actually learn new tools, you know. So if you can do that, and if you decide to show up better and to do it better, you know, your life, it's gonna change. Yeah, 2 years ago, I believe that it was the hardest thing to do, and then this year hits, and the breakup of my engagement happened, and I thought, I don't know, I thought it was about to die, in a very metaphorical way. I thought that, like, my heart was so broken, and still is in so parts, and it's a process to unlearn that, and to see the light in that dark part, you know. And that's where the beauty happens, and it's something that I all the time going to say. And then from there, I've been learning to, one of my favorite words now is boundaries. So to put
I love
boundaries
that.
to myself, to put boundaries to people, to put boundaries to circumstances, and at the same time to have hard conversations, and those hard conversations start with yourself. You know, you don't want to sit down with yourself. You don't want to sit down with those demons, or with those traumas, or past experience, and they're gonna chase you no matter what, and you're gonna take them in the next relationship, to your next friend, or to your family, and they're gonna haunt you. And you know what? This year I just sit down, instead of going to parties, and instead of going to traveling, which I've been doing. Don't get me wrong. I sit down with them and figure it out and face them. You know, I want to be better. I want to be a better human. I want to be married at some point. I want to build something with someone. But that has to start with you.
Yeah. And have you gotten to the point where you can forgive yourself for backsliding a little bit when you backslide? Because that's a big thing for people. They make a misstep and they
Yep.
beat themselves up, and then they get stuck there. So are you good at that now?
I am not good at that, but I am learning. Actually, I did a meditation this morning about forgiveness, because it's not about forgive others. It's about forgive yourself for allow yourself to go to that type of experience, or to allow certain type of people to do what they did. You know, it's not about them anymore. It's always about you. So it's about forgive yourself for how you didn't show up better, and how you didn't knew best. You know. And it's a tricky process. It can be a long process, and at the same time, it can be an easy process and quick, just to apply, learn new tools, and let it go. You know, in the past is in the past. I learned that from my good friend Carson. He's in a wheelchair, and he broke his neck 5 years ago, and since then he cannot walk. And he said all the time to me, "Hey, I broke my neck. Period. It's in the past. I cannot do anything. I cannot change it, and I cannot blame myself that I actually think before having my accident that something could happen, and either way I did it. How many times, how many situations we have been passing that, hey, this is going to get very bad consequences, and we're still doing it. So listen, your mistakes doesn't define you. You just need to be awake, and you need to have the choice to be awake. So if you can have that decision and make that decision and see how you didn't show up better before, just in the past, show up better now, show up better in the future. And surround yourself for people that can take you to that level.
Now, shifting from that to physical shape, how do you
Yeah,
stay
I'm
in
gonna write a book about it.
how do you stay in physical shape, and how do you, like, what's your diet, what's your workout? Do you work out really, really hard, or do you find it less is better?
I work out almost every day. I work out like 5, 6 days per week. I let one resting day, and I work out not just only because of an aesthetic part. I work out because it's healthy. It's a way of it's for your emotional and mental health. It's a way to just disconnect with some music. What I've been doing is working out with my best friend, working out with new people, trainers that can allow me to take my body to a different level that I wasn't before, and to learn new tricks and have fun. And my diet, I try not to eat pizza every day or French fries,
Yes, yes.
because that's a mechanism of coping as well.
That
And
is.
sometimes you need it. But yeah, I've been just trying to. It's not about being healthy, but eat consciously. Let's say it that way.
And the same thing applies there as it does to the spiritual stuff, as if you take a back step. So if you did have a piece of pizza today, you don't beat yourself up over eating the piece and go and get another piece.
True, you can enjoy actually. No, don't get me wrong. Gay people beat themselves just for the pixels
All
or
the time.
whatever.
All the time.
But you learn somewhere somehow to enjoy it, and don't shame yourself from the way you look, or from the of what you eat, and knowing that you're eating in that moment, a slice of pizza, and that's it. It's not that you're gonna eat every meal a pizza, because also that's gonna allow you to feel bad. Food has an intention in our bodies,
Yes.
and that also dictates how we're gonna see each other and how we're gonna perceive people.
Oh, for sure. So we talked about a lot of what you've been up to. Anything else that you've been up to that of note?
uh that's it. I've been taking this year as easy as I can. I'm building a new side business. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do professionally as well, and what other aspect of life I can explore and discover. I'm working into a new LGBTQ platform that it will come out in some point next year. Um, that is gonna be very fun, and I will talk to you offline about it. But
Definitely.
yeah, I've been just enjoying my life, enjoying my friends, enjoying the present, and learning specifically, just to be prepared for whatever life can send us in the future, and in this time, be the best version that you can.
And Dear Queer People is going to come back in a little different. You're making some
It's
changes.
gonna go, it's gonna come back differently. I want to be more self-aware, and at the same time give information and techniques of emotional queer health, if we want to put it that way. I think that's important. I think also the fact of the way I look. You don't see a guy like me. I'm 36, and a muscle guy, tall, talking about so vulnerable topics. And I think that's a very good point to start. It's gonna switch. It's gonna change, and maybe there will be a live version of that on the work. So let's say I'm not pressuring myself to do
Yeah.
it, but it will happen.
Well, that's the best thing. I think with any project, especially, let the project speak to you.
Yes.
Because everything has a life of its own. So let it take its
Yeah.
life, and it'll let you know what it wants you to do. And that is the
Yeah.
best thing you can do.
I'm totally agree with you. And also seeing the circumstances of life that we're living, and see if actually it's the best moment to do it or no.
Yeah, yeah. We have to see what's going to happen with all this.
Oh God.
For now, where can people find you online?
All my social media platforms are my name, Carlos Brandt. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then if you guys wants to do more, in the link of my bio, there's specific links that you guys can do to connect. to follow the podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And we have almost 20 episodes there, 20 different type of stories, including my own, that you guys can like feel inspired somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, that's about it.
I recommend people to check that out because each episode had so much in it, and there was a lot you learned from it. Every episode is something that you go away with it, and there was an emotional ride that you went on for each episode. So I appreciated you being vulnerable during that.
Oh, I mean, I appreciate your feedback. For me, it was a way to express myself and let those emotions out as well, and allow people to tell their stories. And I think that's the beauty about it. Everyone has their own stories and their own struggles, and how they are navigating that, you know. And I think that's the beauty about it. So, and thank you for that, because thanks to that I connect with you, and somewhere somehow we inspire each other. And that's the beauty of social media as well.
Yes.
Talking shit about social media, but that's the good side as well. And let's take more the good side, and figure it out how we can show up better.
Yeah. And you were talking about boundaries before, but that's part of the boundaries too. I found this year that if somebody didn't make me feel good online, you can unfollow.
Yeah.
You can block them if they're still coming for you or whatever. You can block them.
And it's not about coming for you or anything. It's about like, if this person is affecting you so much, maybe you don't know that this person at all, but it's affecting the way his life looks so perfect, or it makes you feel insecure or body shame. It's not their responsibility, it's yours. You
Yes.
know, because in the end you cannot control their life. They can be better, and they choose not to. That's up then. You know, you can just unfollow, mute, restrict, whatever you choose to. There's so many tools now for it.
That was a boundary.
And it's boundaries, and that's something that I've been applied to my life. I follow so many people that have a mute that is ridiculous, but at the same time I've been giving a lot of follows and unfollows, and in terms of like, I don't know, follow hot guys and underwear or shirtless or whatever. There's so many, you know. I'd rather feel inspired and have a balance about it. I'm not a saint, don't get me wrong. I follow attractive people, and but I've been connecting with them, and I kind of know them as well. But I'm more intrigued for inspirational for things that I've been discovering this year that I like outdoor activities like hiking. And now I become this lumberjack person.
I love hiking.
Yeah, I go to hiking. I bought a car and I go to hike, and I just break my bubble somewhere somehow, and that also has been helping a lot this year.
Yeah, and then part of boundaries too, I think, is learning that everybody isn't entitled to have a piece of you. Because I think we give too much of ourselves away. So I've been telling people that all the time. It's like, everybody's not entitled to that piece of you.
Yeah, totally. But that piece of you needs to be safe for yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, and that's something that I've been learning this year, trying to get back that power that I give to people in a good way, that attention, that validation, and have that validation to myself first.
Definitely. I asked you this before, but I want to know if this year it changed at all. So if you had to describe yourself in 3 hashtags, what would you use right now to describe you?
It would be kind, passionate, and stronger. I'm a strong person. I'm very strong, and I know how strong I can be as well. I know how kind I can be of removing myself to be there for people that need it. Kind to myself to forgive and to realize that love is the only way to be. And passionate because I'm from Spain, Venezuela. I have this spice in me, so let's say it.
Those are perfect. I think those are perfect. And what is one thing that you absolutely cannot live without?
Music.
Music. And what's one thing that you wish everybody could live without?
Money. I said it in your first interview.
Yeah, we did. And you were the only one that ever said money. And I was like, that is perfect, because that's the root of all of our problems usually.
Yeah, right? Especially in this pandemic, that we are all a little more poor
A little more
than,
poor.
than we were before.
Don't worry, they're going to give you $600 and you're going to be fine.
Yeah. God, let's not go there.
Do you want to leave anybody with anything before we go? Anything?
Well, first of all, to you, thank you so much for inviting me to this.
Oh,
I
anything.
admire
Anything,
how
please.
you stay up. I admire how you stay productive and how in that productivity you want to still inspire yourself and inspire people. And that's beautiful to see. And
Thank
that's
you.
an invitation to other ones as well to do something with their life, either way that you guys are working or not working or anything. You're showing up better. So my invitation to you is to show up better and to become better. And you have that power in your hands and you have that choice in your hand. Just be aware of your patterns, or just be aware of your behaviors, your attitudes, and things that you know that you have to change, and make the choice to change it, because it's also easy to do it. You just have to make the decision for it, and that way you can have a better life, and you can become whatever the fuck you want to be.
Absolutely. And changes happen in stages and a little bit at a time. So it's not like you have to go like that and you're changed.
No, at all. It's a process. It's in your own process, in your own time, and you decide what to do and how to do it. But just do it. Just do it, and then life will take the flow that it needs to take, and reunite and get together as well, and we will all hug each other again in some point.
Oh, I hope so. I want to encourage everybody to follow Carlos Brandt on all his social media. I will post everything underneath, but definitely follow him because I am inspired by him daily. Even when he's on his breaks, I'm still inspired by him because that inspires me to think. So I thank you for coming today, and everybody go enjoy Carlos. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you.
Anytime.